What's up, ladies and gents? Are you guys having issues with your aiming and you just feel something is not right? Well, last week I talked about what is the best overall sensitivity, but in today's video, we're going to be going over what is the best ADS sensitivity for you specifically and how to find that one and some best practices. And with that being said, let's jump right into this video. And as well, special shout out to my newest members who give me a huge extra support to the channel. And you can become one for as low as 99 cents a month. Link is in the description. So let's talk about the first question that a lot of people don't like to ask themselves. So what is ADS sensitivity supposed to cover? Like when I'm ADSing, is everything that I see in my screen, should I be able to flick to that with my ADS like while I'm aiming? And the answer is actually no. And this is where a lot of people get confused and why they miss their target. So if you're the kind of person that you're aiming right here, and let's say this is a real window and somebody shows up and you got that issue where you aim to the left, right? You're trying to get the dude and sometimes you miss a couple of the shots going to the left and then you move to the right. And then after a little while, then you re-engage to your target. This is when you have an issue with your ADS sensitivity. And what do I mean by this? Well, if we see somebody right over here, like just in the corner of our eye, you're not supposed to go like this, right? This is, I mean, you can do it sometimes, all right? But there's an easier method to doing that. And then this is where you really understand the power of ADS sensitivity. Obviously, the lower ADS sensitivity you have, just like the other ADS, just like the normal sensitivity, the more control you're going to have over your weapon, right? So here are some numbers that you'd like to play around with. If you play on 9.9 sensitivity, all right, I would recommend you to play on about these numbers right here. These are great numbers to play on, 0.9 and 0.85. If you play on anything like 8.8, 7.7 around there, I would drop it down 0.5. So unfortunately here you can only drop 0.5, which is again pretty unfortunate because you can't super fine tune it. But so what I would do is for every sensitivity, every 1 or 2 sensitivities, then I would either drop it or decrease it. For example, if you're playing in 9.9 and you want to play in 8.8 or 7.7, then I go to 0.85. If it's the other way around and you're playing 9.9, right, and you want to, or let's say you're playing 6.6 and you want to increase to 7.7 or 8.8, then I'd increase it only 0.5. So that's how I'd go about adjusting that. But again, everything is really personal preference. Again, now let's talk about another thing that also does make a very, very important detail here, which is the game response curve time. And long story short, super simple. If you're playing on dynamic, again, there is a computerized system that whenever you start aiming, you'll move a little bit slower and then your aim will speed up, right? So it kind of stops you. This prevents you, for example, if you play on the high sensitivities or any sensitivity, dynamic basically prevents you from over aiming because at the beginning, it's slowing you down. And then again, it starts increasing in speed so you can catch on. What linear does is basically like a mouse, right? Whatever speed you move to the right or to the left or down, or if you only move halfway, it's always going to move at the same speed. So in theory, with dynamic, you could play with a little bit higher sensitivity because you're going to have those slowdowns. And with linear, you want to play with a little bit lower sensitivity, but it's going to be a lot snappier. If you guys haven't switched to linear, I definitely recommend because once you do, you will never go back. Now, what is another setting that affects this? Well, it's going to be your dead zone as well. So if we go here into the left stick and right stick dead zone, obviously it's going to be our right stick, which is going to be our aiming one. This is also going to affect, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to have this number as low as possible. The higher you have it, well, it's going to be a little bit harder for you. So if your dead zone really starts getting into those high, like 0.6, 0.7, anything like that, because your controller's stick drift is just crazy, then I'd probably recommend playing a dynamic. So at the beginning, there's like a little, you know, like that little slowdown curve. But again, if not, then the lower you can play, like if you can play on a super low, dead zone in linear, oh my God, you are going to have a snappy controller and the aim is going to be on point. So now let's say that you have that issue, right? When you're aiming here in the middle, you see a dude to the left and you're always over aiming him and missing. What should you do? Lower your sensitivity. Number one. But then you'll ask, well, but if I lower my sensitivity, then, you know, if somebody comes up over here, I'm going to be too slow to aim at him. Well, not necessarily, because this is where the power of ADS aiming kind of comes into play. So whenever you got somebody here and anybody in that visibility, right, in your scope, you should be able to beam them, right? Boom, 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 boom. You can flick them, right? And anything in this like 2/3 of your screen, right? As you guys can see, everything is like 2/3 of my screen. What happens when I see somebody over here? Well, you actually shouldn't go from here and transition all the way over here. Number one, why? Because this can cause the over aiming. Number two, because this can cause a lot of motion blur and for you to miss your target. That's also partially the reason why you miss it. Let's say there's a guy right there and I'm trying to flick him fast. You guys can see this right here. There's a lot of motion blur on. Even though I have it off, it's kind of blurry, you know? But compare that to this. This is a lot smoother image, and ADSing on enemies will always give you a stronger aim assist. So this is part of the little trick right there. I don't know if you guys have ever seen in Pro League as well, but when people are about to peak, a lot of people don't peak like this in Pro League. What they do is, let me get a faster ADS. They do this. Why do they do this? They do this because whenever the dude's about to come out, if you're ADSing like this, your aim will lock on significantly faster. But this will also allow you to aim a lot faster to opponents on the other side. So instead of going like this and aiming like that, what you want to do is if you see this dude and you see a dude coming out here to the left, you want to un-ADS, and as you're moving over here, you want to start ADSing. So whenever you hit here, you're ADS. So you go like this and then boom, like this. And that is how it should be done. Again, the more you practice it, this is how you could practice it. Stand right in the middle and then aim left and aim right. Aim left and aim right, where an enemy should come. This is how you're supposed to be ADSing, and it's going to make it a lot faster. Because again, the lower that sensitivity you can have, the more precise aim you're going to have. But again, when you have a little bit slower, you just won't be able to track down those targets fast enough. So you want to start shooting here, and let's say you see a dude to your right? So you start shooting here on ADS, boom. This is how you are supposed to be aiming, not like this. Can you compare the difference between this and this? I guess you guys can see there, the second one was significantly faster. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, just a little explanation there on how you can lower that ADS sensitivity to improve your accuracy, but as well without being slow and without allowing those enemies to kill you. Ladies and gentlemen, peace out, and I'll see you all in the next one.